Karen Hunter Show. We are here, Sirius XM Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. I'm really excited to have you here as well because you're doing books for children that show them themselves, and you're teaching history and you're bringing it all together, and I think that's important. Education, knowledge is power. Let me welcome to the show. She is the author of Nya Zuri and the Pharaoh's Throne, Nya Kana. Welcome to the Karen Hunter Show.
Thank you so much. I'm
Nya
excited to be
Kana.
here.
All right, what does Nya Kana mean?
Nya Kana. So
Nya Kana.
Nya Kana is the way to
okay.
properly pronounce it. It's from Uganda. So my father's from Uganda, southwestern Uganda. Stand up, right? Banyankoli. So Ankoli Kingdom.
What are you saying? What are we talking? I'm confused.
Those are my people.
Okay.
Banyankoli are my people from southwestern Uganda.
Banyankoli?
Banyankoli.
Banyankoli.
We are from the Ankoli Kingdom.
Ankoli Kingdom.
Yes.
What language is spoken? I think Africa is calling me.
Yes.
In the last 2 months, I've been introduced to no less than 5 countries at a deep level and been invited to go at a deep level. Now Uganda, another country.
I walked in. You said I didn't even know they had light-skinned Ugandans. Yes, we exist.
Look at that. Hilarious. Okay. What the people that you're from? Say it again.
Banyankoli.
Banyankoli.
Ankoli Kingdom.
Ankoli Kingdom.
Yes.
And all right. Now I want to say it.
Nya Kana. You can say Nya Kana. That's fine too. It's Americanized, right?
Yeah, no, I don't want to do that. I just got corrected on Kabina's name.
Okay.
I wanted to call him Kobe. He's like, it's Kabina.
Yeah.
And we need to practice saying people's names because it's important.
Absolutely.
Your name means something.
Thank you.
Nya Kana. All right.
Yes.
What was the impetus to do this book about the Pharaoh and Nya Zuri? What was the impetus? You signed it for me.
Of course I did. So I immigrated to the States. My father's from Uganda. My mother's German Moldavian. I grew up in Berlin, Germany. Came here in the 90s, grew up in Connecticut. And I quickly realized that in America, there really wasn't encouragement to embrace your heritage, your culture. I had to realize at an early age, quite quickly, that I'm a black girl in America and I'm going to have to figure this out. So as I was learning English, I would constantly bring books home and I could never find anyone on the cover that looked like me. And as I got older, I started a family of my own. I was writing, I used to do music back in the day. I said, I really have this passion to make a difference. It may sound cheesy, but I really wanted to make an impact in my community, improve the love of reading, improve literacy rates. And the way that I knew I could do that is by writing a book where I have a heroine. Yes, there's a black girl on the cover. Okay, stop the presses. There's a black girl on the cover. She's leading the way.
And she looks like you.
She does. She's supposed to. Actually, I gave my illustrator a photo of me when I was a kid. I said, make her look like this. And she has her fun friends, Miguel and Hugo Gonzalez, and actually time travel. They go back to ancient Egypt. Most kids don't know Egypt is actually in Africa. They think it's in the Middle East or floating around somewhere in India. Like, it's time to actually teach education because what I learned here was nothing. I'm sorry, but it really was.
I'm often, and you're correct. I had a black person argue with me about Egypt not being in Africa, and it hurt my heart. It hurt my heart. I'm like, why is this ignorance allowed?
No.
But I think it's on purpose. I think the more ignorant people are, the easier it is to control them.
It's the same way during Black History Month when I do in-school author events during Black History. They call it the only black author in Connecticut that they know. They say, hey, Anna, come talk to the kids. I'm like, hey, that's great. It gives them a chance, to be exposed to my book and actually learn something. The first thing I usually see in the hallways are slave ship models. These boats just in the hallways. Right. I said, this is what you're teaching us? Right. Like, our history starts from millennia before this. This is where everyone on this entire planet comes from. So it's my mission to expose children to it in a fun way and have them explore not only science and history and math and just pull everything together and make reading fun again.
I actually got into publishing because when I was doing these very popular celebrity books with big time rappers and things, I wanted to do books that I thought would relate. I did had a mentorship at a prison for juvenile offenders upstate New York, and these kids, we were going to do a literacy thing, and it were no books for young black boys, outside of Donald Goines. Of course, you can do Iceberg Slim, but I wanted something not more elevated because that's literature and it's good literature, even if the content is heavy. But there weren't a whole lot of books out there, so I wanted to create them. So I actually got into publishing to do that, and then got sidetracked by the business, which I'm ashamed of, as I think about it today. The thing that drew me into wanting to publish was to provide content for kids, because what the publishers were telling me is that black kids don't read. Right? So now we're in an era where we have Nya Kana. Say it again.
Nya Kana.
Nya Kana.
Yes.
We have Nya Kana, and then we have Tomi Adeyemi. We have Angie Thomas. there are now all of these authors, Children of Blood and Bone. We have The Hate You Give, and she's got a new book coming out. Now young people are growing up with literature that's on the bestsellers list.
Absolutely. But even so, it's not in the schools. So something that I've been pioneering and bringing forth in my own state, because I'm from the tri-state, is bringing it into the schools. Let's put it in the curriculum. I'm actually sitting down with schools and adding it into their curriculum, giving them lesson plans. Because it's one thing to just have a book. Yes, there's more diverse books that are available, right, in the bookstores and on Amazon. But are the kids actually reading it?
Right. Is it on the reading list?
Is it on the reading list?
Summer reading list?
No, it's not. They're still reading Charlotte's Web. Enough Charlotte's Web. Let's put Nya Zuri in their hands, right?
Oh, listen, I agree. So take us on the journey. So Nya Zuri and her buddies, who happen to be Latino.
Yes.
They travel in time. What is the vessel through which they're traveling?
It is this mystical map, Karen. It's this mystical map. They stumble upon it by accident in their clubhouse, which is actually just under this crazy pine tree. I know it sounds crazy, but growing up, we did not have a lot of resources, okay? I grew up in the projects in Stanford. There was nothing there.
There are projects in Stanford, Connecticut?
Yeah,
I just learned something
really
today.
After, yeah, ding, 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 ding. Pre 9/11. Yeah. So, now it's kind of like bougie now. Definitely has changed since, post 9/11. A lot of New Yorkers kind of came into like lower Fairfield County. And it's definitely changed over the years. They knocked down all the projects, including mine. There's now like luxury condominiums. Yeah, so it doesn't exist anymore, like all the chalk and everything we used to, draw with in the parking lot.
Which imagination.
Imagination.
How to
Listen, I had
play.
the antenna with the aluminum foil. We had like 2 channels, and that was it. So we were always outside.
You can't be old enough to have aluminum foil on your antenna.
If you don't have any money, yes, you do.
Okay. Can I believe that? All right. So they find a map. They
find a map, they time travel, they actually go back to the Triassic period, right? So dinosaurs, they escape, they are not eaten. Come to find out, they actually get missions assigned to them by Nya's teacher. So her name is Miss Ridley, which was a teacher that I had growing up. She took a special interest in me, used to do my hair before school, because my mom didn't know how to do all this crazy curly hair, and really took a special interest in me, so that she inspired me to actually name my character after her. And it's a fun adventure. So most people think, and most children think, that Tut is this grown man, right? He's so infamous, but he's actually only 8 or 9 years old when he becomes Pharaoh. Something, suddenly happens to the king, and he steps in. So they are sent back to ancient Egypt, have to help him overcome his fear of rule. How they do that, I'm not going to give it away. You guys are going to have to go get the book and dig into it. It is a chapter book. It's historical fiction. So children are learning. There's a vocabulary list in there. There's words underlined. They can build a vocabulary, nouns, places, people. Like, let's do this. Let's change this education system up.
Let's take it back to you,
okay.
Nya Kana.
Yes.
You grew up in Connecticut in the projects, which I'm still baffled that Stanford, Connecticut had any projects at any time.
We did. There's still a few left, just a couple.
So you went from there to what? You went to college?
I did. I went to school and started a family, got married, settled down, did that whole thing, and I used to have a music career back in the day, so I always was writing. I put all my hours in that way, right?
Do we know any of your songs?
Probably not. You can Google me.
Okay. All right, I'm going to do that too.
Me.
All right, so to write, I've talked about this even in my podcast. I'm not a natural born writer. Like, I don't get joy out of writing. No. I do it because
You're given an assignment. You're like, here, do this.
It's deadline, dude, blah, blah, blah. But I don't go, oh, I can't wait to get up and tell this story. Like, it's not in me. Is that in you too?
It's a passion.
Okay.
It's a passion. And the great thing about children's books are that it's boundless. So you don't have any limitations. You can take them to faraway places. You don't have to spell everything out from A to Z, because you have this wonderful thing called imagination. And I want children to be able to put themselves in the character's shoes, figure out how it is that they escape from this jungle, figure out how the sweat dripping off one of the twins' foreheads is making this gel, stick to the sides of his head as they're trying to bust out of this tomb, and where are they in this pyramid? And I want them to really be able to place themselves in, and the imagination. And it's something that is robbed of children as they grow up in the system, especially Black and brown children. Yeah. It's robbed of us.
Listen, Black and brown children in too many neighborhoods in this country don't get to be children. Either, they are not, let alone have an imagination, let alone escape into these different worlds. They are, so much is put upon them. And we were talking before you got here with a woman who's trading stocks, and we were talking about fear, because a lot of people are afraid to jump into things, but a lot of parents are putting fears on children, especially now. It's such a dangerous world, it's such a scary world, and we have all these other things to navigate, that to be able to escape into a place where you actually can learn some things through osmosis, because as you're going on this journey, I'm imagining you're going to remember things even more vividly with the descriptions in here because you do a good job.
Thank you so much. And there are free resources on my website too, www.nyakana.com.
Uganda. Well, when was the last time you went back there?
Oh, not since the late 90s.
Oh, okay.
It's been a minute.
So you grew up in Uganda?
I grew up in Berlin, Germany, actually.
Okay. All right. How
Back
much
and forth.
time did you spend in Uganda? And what's special about it? Because, you know,
Like months at a time.
even that's mythical for a lot of us, you know, just the idea of I was having lunch with somebody yesterday and we're like, growing up, it was Tarzan, you know, Africans were cannibals. They had bones in their noses. They were eating, you know, if you think about Abbott and Costello, the cartoons portrayed Africans, you know, ooga, 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 you know, and that's the entire continent. Like they were all whittled down to these caricatures, right? And so every person that comes in here from a place, whether it's Ghana, Zimbabwe, Nigeria, I'm about to meet people from Senegal, and now, you know,
they
Uganda.
probably all tell you my country is the most beautiful country in the world, right? I mean,
that is more beautiful,
rivers,
right?
Flowing, like land of milk and honey. It's true. Flowing rivers and waterfalls, and my people, right? Ankoli people, we're herders, right? We have these beautiful cows with these amazing horns, kind of like similar to the Longhorn Texas cows, something like that. So just imagine them on these beautiful, lush, green, rolling hills. Now, yes, that's more of like the country, the suburbs. Then you have the city. Right. You have the city, and in the city, Kampala is the capital. Right. It's bustling. You have the most beautiful museums, restaurants, and it's all international too.
So it's not just Idi Amin, and even now in Uganda and even Rwanda, places that have historically had these horrific,
civil wars and ethnic cleansings, and
there's stuff going on there, and we need to be open to it. So I'm glad that you're starting.
And remember, that's just one side portrayal of Idi Amin. That's a whole other conversation that we can have.
We should have. Let's have that off mic. Okay.
Yes, we have that off mic.
All right,
it is available, like you mentioned, on my website, Amazon, all your local bookstores. It's going to be branching out, and the antagonist really gets pulled into the second book, and they go into more with girls with coding. So we'll get back to that.
We'll have you back when book 2 comes out as well. Nya Kana, Nya Zuri, and the Pharaoh's Throne. We'll actually put the tweet out. And
Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Smiz, appreciate you. Thank you, family. Donica, Jameson, Truth in the Universe, family. We'll see you tomorrow. It's Foolishness Friday. Love you. God bless.